Over here at Sales Maven, we celebrate Christmas in July, so I have a special offer for you. It is an opportunity for you to come and join the Sales Maven Society right now. This is my group coaching program, and you're going to get it for an unbelievable price. So normally it's $147 a month, but you can get your first month of access for just 50 cents. 50 cents. That's it. This is my way of showing appreciation for you being a listener to the Sales Maven podcast. And it's an opportunity to give you a chance to experience the immense value of this program firsthand. So don't miss out. This incredible promotion is only available for a couple days while we're celebrating Christmas in July. So come elevate your sales skills with us and reach new heights in your business today. Go to yoursalesmaven.com/July 23. That's JULY, the number 2 and the number 3, and you'll get your first month of access for 50 cents. I cannot wait to support you in that group. See you there.
Do sales conversations make you feel awkward or pushy? It's time to ditch the outdated salesy strategies. Your guide, Nikki will show you how to combine kindness with selling skills to meet your prospects where they are, and in the process, how to up-level your influence and income. Learn how to earn business easily and effortlessly. Here's Nikki.
Welcome, and thank you for listening to the Sales Maven Show. I'm your host, Nikki Roush. I'm here to offer you tips, strategies, and techniques to master your sales conversations. Now, today's episode is about closing the deal faster. I want to give you a proven strategy for sales success. Now, before we dive in, I want to remind you that there is an often overlooked and sometimes ignored strategy that will increase your chances of success. And it has to do with asking questions. Questions are such an important part of the selling process. As a matter of fact, in 2021, I did a whole year at the end of every podcast episode. I gave you questions to put in your back pocket to pull out into your sales conversations. These are questions that are available to the Sales Maven Society members inside the society. And I may have even shared this question, but I don't think I've ever actually done a whole podcast episode around it. And it's something that's been coming up over and over and over again in the last couple of weeks. So I kind of have a rule that anytime I am sharing something with my clients, sharing something over and over again as strategy for people, I like to turn it into additional content, hence the podcast episode for you, so that you will benefit from this question that I want to share with you today. Now, we all want to close business quicker, right? And it's to your benefit to minimize the amount of time that you take in closing a deal or even getting to the heart of a matter in a particularly difficult situation. Sometimes just getting to the heart of the matter is going to make it better so we know what to do. And once you know what to do next, it's easy to take your next step. My background in NLP, we used to always say most people don't even understand what's getting in the way. And sometimes we would ask this question. This, by the way, is not the question that I'm going to give you in this podcast episode, but we would ask people what's stopping you from achieving X, Y, and Z? Now, you can certainly use this question. It is powerful. But a lot of times it's because people weren't aware of what's getting in the way or they didn't know the answer. And so once you could help them, guide them to the answer, then they knew what to do next. So in the sales process, I want to give you a question that oftentimes, until you know the answer to this question, you don't really know what to do next to earn the business, to close the deal. So the question is, what would it take? Now, I have been sharing this question in many different contexts in different situations that I've come up with clients in the last couple of weeks. So I want to give you some of those contexts so that you can think about it. So one, I was on a coaching call with a client recently who had shared that she'd had a lot of success with somebody in a couple of years ago of doing a deal with this. This was like a strategic partner. And the strategic partner wasn't really being responsive to working together again. And so she had outlined for me what she wanted to say to the client. And I was like, ooh, or the strategic partner. And I was like, oh, I think we can say this a little differently. So I think the question was like, are you no longer interested in working together? And I was like, no. How about if we ask, what would it take for this next opportunity to make sense for you so that we could continue to work together? That is going to get you a very different response. And if the client or prospective client, or in this case, strategic partner, is willing to answer that question of what would it take, if you can meet that expectation, there's a good chance you can close that deal. Now, they often don't know the answer to that question until you pose it to them. So it's really important that you have this question in your back pocket and that you ask people, what would it take? Now, I want to share another scenario where you can use this question. And this was also from a coaching call that I had recently, where I have a client who has a team of people that are interacting with, like client facing. So they're doing a lot of interaction with clients. And she was expressing some disappointment or some frustration in the way that the client interactions were happening. And so she was talking about, well, I feel like I need to ask my team, like, what do you need from me in order for this to happen? And I was like, hold up. When you say, what do you need from me? That is basically taking all the responsibility on your shoulders. And I want to caution you from doing that. And this also works in sales conversations too. You want to be careful about always putting all the responsibility on you. Now, so side note here, it is your responsibility to earn the person's business. But when you act as if like it's completely within your control, sometimes people will be like, I'll let you do all the heavy lifting, and they don't really participate. And even in a sales conversation or in a sales interaction with a client or with a prospective client, I always say there needs to be a balance of power. You can't hold all the power in the conversation or in the relationship because your prospective client or your client will go somewhere else. They'll feel out of balance. But you also don't want to give them all the power, because when you give them all the power, human nature is they will abuse it. They'll mistreat you. They won't respect you in the same level. So we got to balance out the power. So instead of saying like, what do I need to do? Instead, ask this question, what would it take? So I told her to ask her team, like, what would it take for you to deliver a higher level of customer service? And then wait and see what their answers are, because they may actually take ownership for it. Just like if you asked a prospective client, like, what would it take in order for us to move forward with working together? They may go, well, I need to handle or finish this project that I'm working on, and then we can get started, right? That's great information for you to have. Do you know how to recognize and act on a buying signal? I have a gift that is going to teach you these 17 buying signals so that you're ready when you get them to take action and move somebody to the next part of the sales conversation. You can get this right now by going to yoursalesmaven.com/Maven. Go grab it now. So I want you to have this question kind of in your back pocket, ready to go. And don't be afraid to ask people, what would it take? It is a incredibly powerful question. I have used it over and over and over again in many different situations, in business and also in my personal life. So use it, see what happens, wait for the answer. Now, remember, when you ask a question, you then have to zip it and let the person respond. Do not keep talking. Don't start throwing out ideas, like ask the question, pause, see what they say next. Now, if they say, I'm not really sure, then you could throw out some ideas. Then that's when you can do what I call giving a menu. Sometimes it's helpful to have a like, well, what if we, got it on the calendar now to get started? Or what if you made a down payment? Or what if we offered you a payment plan? Like there's all kinds of like giving a menu that you can offer that might have somebody go, well, it's not that. Well, it's not that, but it is this. You may have heard me talk about giving a menu before. It often comes up in the Sales Maven Society. It is also a powerful technique. It's the example I often compare it to is imagine walking into a sandwich shop and there's no menu, there's no board like above the, kind of glass where they've got all the different breads and cheeses. Usually one of your first question is like, well, what kind of sandwiches do you have? And they go, any kind you want. Just tell us what you want. We'll make it. And then you go, well, do you have sourdough bread or do you have, and so then you start having to ask questions. You don't want your client to have to do that. So this is why when you go into a sandwich shop, they have their menu usually hanging above their head or, off to the side where you can look and see these are all the different types of bread we have. These are the types of, toppings and sandwich meat or, cheeses or spreads for your sandwich, whatever it is. And it makes it really easy for you to choose. So if you've asked the question, what would it take? And you've paused and you've waited and you haven't gotten a response from the client, or they say, I'm not really sure. Then you can offer the menu technique. I usually say give like maybe 2 or 3 possibles. And then sometimes you could say, or something else, and just wait again. And then see what they say next. Oftentimes that will cause people to come up with their own answer, which will be what it really will take to earn their business or what it really will take for us to continue to work together. Or you can also use this in a situation if you've ever had something go kind of off the rails, like maybe there's been a mistake that's happened or a client is frustrated, something didn't go as planned. There's all these different things that can go wrong. Now, instead of asking like, what do I need to do to make this right? Ask, what would it take to make this right? And see what the different type of responses will be. And you can A/B test this, right? You could say, what do you need from me to make this right? Or you could say, what would it take to make this right? And you'll find that oftentimes the response to the second version of this question, what would it take to make this right, is usually something that you can like, okay, we can figure out how to move forward with this. But when you take all the responsibility on you, that might be a really heavy burden to carry. So I hope this question is helpful. I know that if you are able to work this into your sales conversations, you will find that you will close the deal faster. Now, little consumer protection for your own mind, and also me wanting to safeguard your relationships with your prospective clients. Do not just walk up to anybody and go, what would it take to earn your business? There has to be rapport in place. You have to have some permission to be talking to the person before you go in with this question, right? So when you think of the 5 steps of the selling staircase, I want you to have we need to at least have progressed to step 3 and then moving to step 4 and then 5. So if you're not familiar with the selling staircase, I wrote a whole book around it. It's called The Selling Staircase. Go grab it or go back to some of the previous podcast episodes. There's some episodes there. I think actually the very first podcast that I ever aired on the Sales Maven podcast where I broke down the 5 steps of the selling staircase. So if you need a revisit or a refresher, go back and grab that, re-listen to it or listen to it for the first time. All right. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you found this helpful. And I'd love to hear, as you start to incorporate this into your sales conversations, what has the response been? How's it going for you? I am always delighted to hear from you as the listener. So please reach out. You can connect with me on social media. I tend to hang out on Instagram and LinkedIn. You can certainly come join us in the Sales Maven Society if you're ready for some coaching. You want just that sales coach in your back pocket where you can ask questions and get immediate answers from me, or the community. It's phenomenal. You've probably heard some of the society members here on the podcast. We have an exceptional community of like-minded business owners that are committed to selling in an authentic, genuine way so that they can continue to scale their business. And yeah, that's it for today. So here's my sign off. Remember, implementers get results. This is something I say often, and implementers like you are destined for success. So go close those deals and close them faster. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for listening to Sales Maven. Visit us online at yoursalesmaven.com/maven for more resources to boost your confidence and skills.
Are you ready to increase your confidence in your sales conversations? I have a gift for you that is going to show you exactly how to do that. It is my Closing the Sale ebook. It's all about leveling up your confidence, giving you language to use, how to seamlessly move somebody through the sales process. And you can get it right now by going to yoursalesmaven.com/Maven. Go grab it.